Alright, welcome YouTube to the Daily Cast here. We'll be spectating Tyrion and PaulWalrus against Xcloud and Astrid today. And yeah, tomorrow is the Liga NOS League Diamond Division first day of the final weekend. Will be casted on my stream, so be sure to be there. Will be interesting to see who makes it out of that. So first of all, let's focus on the starts here. We have wait, I need to. Okay, the UI scaling is done in advance, and now I just needed to have this. So Berserker on Tyrion, very standard start to look at. Then we have Bounty Hunter start from PaulWalrus on blue. X-God going for a gate card start 5 worker, did not receive a snail, so this will be a hold. And we have a double fire archer start from Astrid while receiving a snail. He can push quite aggressively now. I don't think he needs to add much on wave 2. He only leaks to a lizard. Um, so I don't think he needs to build that bone warrior here. I think he just stay here like this and he's gonna be fine. If you want to have the better ult possible, you want either the bone warrior around here. It's kind of hard to see here. No, it's a little bit further back. It's around here. You want the Bone Warrior to tank before those two Fire Archer while still having them tank. Or the second option is to place it in the split so that you have this shared aggro. But right now on wave 2 did not fear any sense here, and even to a snail it would have held, so not building it right now is still fine. We did have Astrid not standing on wave 1, so that's why we did see Tyrion add the little chain fist here. Does show a little bit of his cards, and so let's see if Astrid's going to adjust some of his sand here, and he's not going to. Or wait, he will get another Snell, so that will be a leak here from Tyrion. He's pushing 5 worker, double Snell plus Lizard is a guaranteed leak here if he goes Oathbreaker. He does go Oathbreaker, that's gonna be a leak on Tyrion. PaulWalrus on this side only receiving a DT, probably paired with a snail, might be able to leak him. Doesn't have the best setup. He will surely go for the steed around here and then maybe extend the split with the mask to buy more time. So the steed comes in and we have a little mask here. Does not extend as much as he could the split, but still not too bad. He only received the DT here, so this means that it is closer to a hole because the DT does not wrap around to go into the steed afterwards, so nice split aggro. But here we do see Tyrion possibly leaking. Here the extra snail does prevent the Wolfbreaker to kill the split, which means that the Berserker is susceptible to receiving those, wasting some attacks, not allowing ramp ups, and does leak 47%. On the other side, it did only receive income sense on both sides, and Astrid using that perfectly. When you have this kind of build here with triple fire archer, you can allow to greed a little bit more. He just needs to keep in mind he needs that bone crusher on wave 5, and then he needs an answer on wave 6. Looking at what he has, the Windhog is most likely his option. So possibly what he can do is possibly not build anything here. He's pushing to 9 workers even. What? Okay, so that is quite risky because that means that he is quite susceptible to the leak on wave 5 and 6. He really needs to hit those thresholds. He really needs to make it like happen. Let's see. He can add a snail. The snail will be added here, so that might surprise Tyrion, but he did add a little bit here in value. Did go for the Peewee and the chain fist, but the most important part is that it did not go for double snail, which means that the Oathbreaker here will survive the split and will join up on the other units, which means that it will be a hold on Tyrion just because of that fact. So that's a lot of income on Astrid, but it does. Oh, okay, it does not survive, just barely dies, and so this means it will be a leak here because it barely died, and so more time, and that's to add more extended wave, should I place it like that, does benefit Astrid with the 9 worker push, but he needs to be careful. We've discussed the situation here, and I really want to see him do the growl here. Don't go for the Bone Crusher, go for the growl. It should be your better play. He does go for, again, another Sen. And this is against Oathbreakers here. That's going to be another Oathbreaker here, and that might still enable him to hold. But the Sen will still be an 80 Sen, so it might speak some trouble to Tyrion. He did push to 8 workers. He is still under a lot of pressure. We do have PaulWalrus overbuilding here on this side to protect his Kingpins. That is Bounty Hunter and Angler. He is undervalued as well, but well, he's not having the best unit as well, so this might be quite brutal for him. But 100 cent here, 100 cent. He decided to go for another. Decided to go for another Fire Archer here, and the Windhawk, and that means that he doesn't have a front line whatsoever to protect them, and that will result into a leak from Astrid. And he cannot push off of that. He cannot push. He needs to reach that Violet. If he does not reach that Violet, he's gonna leak. And I do have to say that this Fire Archer is a big, big mistake from Astrid. Going for the Growl could have been a much better decision. Tyrion leaking and Paul's leaking does mean that he will catch back up into some of this gold, but not being able to push a workers after 100 Sen is not what you're looking for. And with these units, with a proper Bone Crusher here, and maybe an extended split to allow this Fire Archer to tank a little bit, then you have a great chance of holding that wave 5 as well. So just banking too much onto the burst damage of the Fire Archer and not enough on the survivability of the units that he had to hold that wave. But let's see, a recent could allow Astrid to push yet again. A recent is coming. Astrid is going for a recent as well. Tyrion is not sending, however. He's gonna try and hold this as much as he can. He does not have the best front line. 2 fortified armor. These units are pretty vulnerable on 6, and only the Berserker is impactful on this wave, and so having the 2 lizards does make a lot of sense. We had the Snell, we bank on the fact that Tyrion did greed too much here. He's shifting a lot of gold. He's aiming to get that Holy Avenger on noise 7. He's gonna regret the decision here, and that's gonna be a leak from Tyrion. Or at least maybe not a big one, depending on the focus and how well the Berserker does. But the Berserker is already under attack by one of the lizards, which is not ideal, and 3 Rokos are still alive in the split here, attacking and punishing the Oathbreaker quite drastically. We do have the Oathbreaker going down. Will the Roko survive here? No, it will not. And Tyrion leaking massively air, and it's not looking better on the side of Paul. Paul leaking as much to the recent here. So heavy punish here, and that is a lot of king damage. There's no immolation, which means that those Roko will survive a long time before dying, which is, of course, not the ideal situation for them. But let's see. Tyrion does still have the medium advantage, but look at this king damage. Look at this gold generated from those leaks here for Astrid and Next God. Astrid still miles ahead in workers now, was able to push out of that 40 cent. Still vulnerable on wave 7 here, doesn't have any frontline to speak of, but no recent are coming here. No recents are coming onto Astrid, and so this is very big for them. He is setting a lot of gold here. He could push a little bit more, but he's gonna try and aim. No, okay, he's full building with more fire archers, which is well, I mean it's working, but you need to end the game early, and that's what they are aiming for. You see, this is one thing that you need to assess, that those fire archer does scale down very fast in effective value the later the game goes. So we're really gonna see how early they are able to finish the game. I mean, the Sands are quite effective here. It's gonna punish Tyrion yet again, unless the Old Avenger. The Old Avenger is going to do a very good job here. Wait, he's gonna ascend here. So max mana, Old Avenger will clear the wave and will also clear the lizard. So very, very nicely played here by Tyrion, able to catch back up in workers. And the region is coming also. But the long save onto X-God not working out, and X-God will be able to push a lot of workers. He is plus 60, so well within value. He does have also the Elite Archer to transform into a Trinity Archer for wave 10, so does have a good damage, but he needs the front line, and the front line could speak some trouble here. I don't see any front line for X-God to reach for, but looking back, he does have the Berserker, so he might not decide. He might decide to not invest into the Trinity Archer and go for Berserker instead. The King Regent could allow him to push a little bit more, or use that to prepare for wave 10, to hold wave 10. Sorry. So we did have the resend on both Astrid and X-God. The Holy Avenger less of a powerful unit on this wave, and so it might result into a leak. It does look like that way for now, and the masks are not able to hold this. And so it is a leak on PaulWalrus, and we do have Astrid leaking here as well to the income send. But what about the Old Avenger? The Old Avenger is doing a very good job here, better than I expected, but it's still leaking. So still leaking. This is still some king damage, but not lethal. But remember, the longer the game goes, the less effective will be the build from Astrid that went for yet another fire archer. That is just like a commitment at this point. He's just gonna say, I'm gonna just do fire archers up until the end of the game at this point, or what? So massive commitment here. He does look pretty strong with double violet, but wave 10 is a big issue for them, for him. Looking at Exot, is going for the berserker here, probably not reaching the fertilizer. How much goes that? 144. He's close. He could go for income on wave 10 to possibly get it, or maybe finish the send here. But he's gonna see the kingpin here, so okay, he's going to complete the send, and he will also receive some income. So let's see if he decides to not push, go for the fertilizer, or decide to push and only go for the Trinity Archer. So just check on the worker. It's 17 at the moment. 18, he's gonna go for the Trinity Archer and not for the fertilizer. So we do have here the Berserker, so I do believe that wave 10 will be skipped by everybody, and the long save will begin. But looking at Tyrion, you probably want to send on 12 against him, while against Paul, you kind of want to go for 13. So a weird situation right now for both the players, because Paul is covering wave 12 for Tyrion, and Tyrion is protecting wave 13 for PaulWalrus. Asgard deciding to go for king ups here, so definitely not 12 for him, unless he surprises us. PaulWalrus does decide to send here, and so this might enable the players to go for a long send, a long save. But Astrid, the longer he saves, the weaker he will be. But we discussed, with the decision he made with all those fire archers, he is very susceptible to the game going late. He's not going to scale as much as the others. And so going for that long save to try and close out the game seems the correct play. Meanwhile, Xgod does have the better late game role and tries to scale as much as possible. But he needs to join Astrid now. He needs to join him on the wave he decides to go to try and finish the game up. They need to do 32% of the king damage. So if one of the two are leaking massively, it might be problematic. What is very problematic right now is that Astrid decided to go for with 11 here, while seeing the Desert Pilgrims. So this is not going to be a massive leak as he wanted. Exco joining him with income only. So that is not looking pretty. We do have Sorcerer on X-God and Astrid just going for press the attack to try and leak on wave 11. The Lost Chieftain. I mean, without the. Apart from the Lost Chieftain, he doesn't have much. I give you that. Theon probably going to boost that Veteran. So Pilgrim is coming out. Boosting that would be 5 head. He's using Punch Up to sell something. Okay, he did sell the Peewee, but he cannot boost now. And he's not going to boost. He's not going to sell this to boost, and so he's gonna sit on his 19 gold. Luckily for him is that the Ghost Knight is distracted in the split here, so he might be able to clear a lot of stuff. This is the lane of interest. Xgod deciding to scale does receive income as well, and here it will be a hold from PaulWalrus. But if this does not leak Tyrion massively, which is doing a better job than I expected, to be honest, the leak will be bigger than I envisioned, and it is indeed a 116% leak onto Tyrion. But now, that does not end the game. So Tyrion and PaulWalrus probably in a better position, but astreid is pushing quite heavily as well. Um, and that's no set? Okay, so wave 13 now becomes a bit of an issue for Paul because he does have the Radiant Halo being shown. So very interested to see where the players are deciding to go. Because astreid is pushing to no send. He's just pushing some workers sometimes, and yeah, that's to no send. So that can speak some trouble for him. Yes, he has the Haven, but even though you have the Haven here, what is your answer for 13? 13 is pretty much dead for him. And looking at Ekot, not looking better. So wave 13 is the point of attention, and astreid did push to no send. And he did consider that he had the Haven here, but he did not consider how weak he was on wave 13. So let's see. Was not lethal. It did go through to the king, but not lethal is the most important part here. So they are trying to go for a finishing blow on wave 13. Tyrion has a decent chance of holding. He is close to value, as well as PaulWalrus. PaulWalrus does not have the best units for it though. So we're gonna see what is the decision in the final. I do think Tyrion and PaulWalrus will go for wave 13. I don't think there's a better play than that. Yes, Tyrion cannot send as much, but PaulWalrus can leak astreid more than 100% here. And they don't go for it. They just don't go for it. But now we do have Xgun and astreid forcing wave 14 then. They accept the fact that they have Tantrum Mask and Arc of Justice here. They accept the fact that the Kingpin is not that strong on 14. They accept that this Last Chieftain is not. I think this is a throw. I just think this is a plain out throw. But astreid pushed another worker to no send again? Okay. Well, that's some confidence, to be honest. And so they're probably thinking about 14. But Xgod is holding 14 for sure. Look at the values. Tyrion's still very close. PaulWalrus falling behind. Xgod very far in the value. I mean, do the players decide to go for 15 there? So we see the Sovereign and no send. Okay. So they realize that Xgod is too strong on 14. He can have a weak wave on 15. Yeah, but that's gonna be Tantrum Mask. The Mudman will be able to harden again. You can have the Steeds spam from PaulWalrus. Tyrion can have Aqua spam and Veteran spam. I do think Veteran spam is a very nice idea here from him. He can spam Pilgrims. I do think the delay is in favor of Tyrion and PaulWalrus here, unless we have a hold from Xgod. I mean, he is the one who is the highest value, but the front line is just not there for the Trinity Archers. So I'm willing to let him prove me wrong on that, but that's not looking good in terms of delay. That is 100% a leak on 15 on astreid. But the sands are massive. The sands are massive. Tyrion with the lowest sand onto Xgod, but astreid gonna have a massive sand to Tyrion. Xgod a massive sand to Paul, but Paul gonna massacre astreid. So let's see. The Rams are coming. 2 Ram are coming from PaulWalrus. Okay, that's gonna be a large protection to the boss here. No Shamans though. So Shaman is very good in the race situation because of the attack speed increase. And Tyrion's just going frontline and spam. That's quite an interesting choice because now with those gargoyles on Xgod, Well, he's gonna have to delay a little bit. He's gonna delay a long time here for the 300 and maybe even hold because the send here is probably not the perfect one. I must admit that the send from Tyrion does not make a lot of sense to me. So let's see how it is all on Tyrion here. Tyrion needs to be holding. He is the closest to value on his team. Exgard is the other one that we need to look at, but currently it's all about does Tyrion do well for his team or not. So the Sovereign is already on the boss, but it's taking way too much damage right now. The Fertilizer is tanking, but there's just not enough damage onto the boss to be able to hold here. So this is a leak from Tyrion in a fast one, Astrid leaking, and X-God would be leaking as well, but this is too slow, and the leaks are too big on Tyrion and PaulWalrus, and so it is a win in the end for X-God. Oh, never mind, this is a hold even from X-God, and this is not enough to kill them, and so X-God and Astrid takes the game with the long save call and Astrid pushing to no send also. So recognizing that they need to leak Tyrion and so pushing to no send, they recognize they don't want to have a late game to that composition. And so they make a move to try and close out the game with Astrid full pushing. Not full pushing, but pushing a lot into no sense to allow him to have a little bit more extra pressure onto Tyrion. Exile playing a little bit safer, staying overvalued for a long time, allowing him to delay a long time as well as holding. So, very nice call by both the players. Was quite surprised to not see some earlier sends. Could have allowed Tyrion and PaulWalrus to be a little bit better in value, but that could have allowed Exile and Astrid to go for an all-in play and push out of the workers as well. So it's always a 50-50 when you do those kind of calls, and it might always backfire. But the Wave 13 Send skip was quite a surprising one, to be honest. I did not expect Tyrion and Polaris to not go for Wave 13, to try at least and punish Astrid. Like, if you leak Astrid here, Exile can probably not hold here. Yes, he's overvalued, but okay, that's irritating. But the problem is that he only has pierce damage. There's no impact. That's the only tank. So I just don't understand because the effective value here is just way lower than that. So yes, your send is small, but you're gonna do a lot of king damage already with that. And this is not holding. This is just playing out not holding anything to a siege ram. You just send siege ram, and poof, all the wave is leaking. So that's why we say a lot of gold could have been done, accumulated on Tyrion and Polaris, while a lot of gold lost onto X-God and Astrid to allow you to get back into the game. So on that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. I hope it was insightful and very well played by X-God and Astrid on that one. So see ya.